In the past, I used to scale up my campaigns using the guru method, which was doubling your budget, duplicating campaigns, and hoping it worked. And then guess what? It did not work. I ended up having a higher cost per conversion. I ended up having higher costs without getting more results. It ended up being the same results, more budget, same results. So that was very frustrating. So in the last 6 months, 12 months, I studied past campaigns and saw what wasn't working. I also looked at what other major advertisers are doing and how they scale up their ads. And this video is for you to show you how to scale up your ads from so much money to so much more money, like from $100 a day to $1,000 to $10,000 a day to $100,000 a day to make your Facebook campaign work for your business. Scaling Facebook ads is like driving a high performance car. You know there's a lot of power in it, and you know if you step on the accelerator carelessly, you might spin and crash. The same way it is for Facebook. You just don't want to throw so much money on it, and then you end up burning all the amount of money you have spent. You have to be very careful. You have to be very strategic in terms of scaling up. It's just not adding money. It's by looking at your campaign, your business, your model, and seeing how well you can improve things. The biggest challenges in scaling your ads campaign is in market saturation and delivery mechanics. Facebook works by sending your ads to the most responsive people, a core group of people who will respond, react, like, share, or buy your products. Then from there, it'll spread out from the most responsive to the less responsive to the least responsive. So this means when you throw money at it, your budget will be spread from the most responsive to the less responsive. And this happens, and this leads to higher cost per conversion and a very low return on ad spend, which is a problem. When you talk about market saturation, is if your market is so big and you spend more money, you're bound not to reach everybody. You'll have exhausted the number of people who would be buying your product, and adding more money to it doesn't make a difference. It'll end up to ad fatigue and ad exhaustion. Let us define what scaling is. Scaling is not adding money to your budget, but strategically looking at your campaigns and finding out bottlenecks that is keeping you from succeeding in your ads campaign. It means looking carefully into where you're having problems in terms of higher cost per clicks, in terms of lower click-through rates, in terms of lower conversion rates, and finding ways to making it more profitable through better ads and aggressive actions. What scaling means in Facebook ads is through finding bottlenecks that is keeping you from getting the best performance from your ads. It involves aggressively looking at your cost per click, aggressively looking at your click-through rate and your conversion rates, and finding ways of improving each and every of those segments in order to get better value for your money. It's just not adding money to your campaigns. When you are scaling your ads, you will have problems with hitting a virtual wall in trying to get improvement in performance. You will try, and the only ways to overcome this is by coming up with better creatives, a better offer, and a better strategy to work the meta ad system to give you more money for your buck, more bang for your buck. There are two types of scaling. There is a vertical scaling which involves adding money to your accounts or adding more budget to your accounts, to your campaigns, or horizontal scaling. Horizontal scaling involves looking for different ways of selling the same product to different people. For example, there are 50 to 100 different ways you can present the item, your product or service to your people you're selling to. This can be focusing on one feature in one ad, another feature in another ad, or the same feature to a different audience. How people use or relate to a product or service varies according to age, demographic, and use case scenario. This involves picking the right strategy for your right audience. Like, for example, think about a bottle of soda, a bottle of Coke. For more mature people, they just drink the bottle of soda and throw it away. Well, if you think about kids, when they see the same bottle of soda, they look at a plaything where they can use the bottle tops to play around with or just kick the bottle around. Also, there have been campaigns where I saw in Asia where they made the wrapper for Coke to become a gift to be used in Christmas. So these are various different ways for the same product being used by different people differently. In horizontal scaling, what matters most is the total addressable market. The total addressable market should be big enough to accommodate different services, different offers, different requirements to different people. If the total addressable market is small or too niche, this would apply, and making it less profitable. Here are common mistakes that digital marketers do when it comes to scaling up Facebook ads. So number one is overcomplicating the ads. Number two, relying on lookalikes audience. Number three is scaling too fast, too soon. Number four is prioritizing volume over fundamentals. Number five is on the marketing side, trying to be the cheapest offer. Let's look at each and every one of these and see how you can solve all these problems. So the first mistake many guys do is overcomplicating your ad campaigns by having so many ad sets, by having so many campaigns, by having too much working at the same time. You might find one campaign that has 100 ad sets or 50 ad sets addressing the same issue. So this becomes a problem because it becomes unmanageable. It becomes an issue because you might not have the time to look at the ads that are not performing well, and you might not have the time to stop and see what to improve. This just complicates issues and make things way harder to do. So the solution to this is by consolidating your campaigns into a few ad sets which follow a certain objective. Due to the recent Andromeda Facebook updates, the reliance of narrowing your audience to interests or lookalikes doesn't work as efficiently as it did, because this run severely limits your reach. Andromeda update encourages guys to use fewer restrictions in terms of interests, in terms of demographics, in terms of targeting, and lets Facebook choose for you the perfect audience. Facebook has more knowledge than you have. It has way more data points than you have. And while looking at what will be suitable for you, by looking at your campaigns, by looking at your ad sets, by looking at your creatives and reading your ad, it can provide for you the best performing audience who will convert to clients for your business. So they say it is better to avoid narrowing down your audience by choosing your audience by interests. Scaling too fast or too dramatically ends up hurting your campaigns. If you're to double your ad spend in 1 day, it leads to serious problems because it does not give the algorithm time to adjust and adapt to what you're looking for and to find for you your best clients. This happens because you give it new information and the Facebook system has to go back to the learning phase and get back the right signal and the right people for your campaign. This might end up giving you higher costs. This might end up giving you lower conversions. This might end up giving you very high click-through cost per clicks and lower click-through rates. So the solution for this is staggering your increments of your budget by maybe 20% every 4 days, every 5 days. Once the system is adjusted, you increase again to another 20%. Once the system is adjusted again, you increase further. So in a period of a month or 6 weeks, you can move from 0 to either 70% or 100% increase in budget. When it comes to prioritizing volume over fundamentals, this is when the advertiser sees vanity metrics as things to brag about and talk about. He talks about more reach, he talks about more likes, he talks about more engagements. These are soft targets. What matters most is more business, more leads, more downloads, more sales. So rather than focusing on more volume in terms of metrics, you might sit down and look at your marketing fundamentals. Look at what is selling, what is your offer, how best are you serving your audience, and how best are you serving these new people that you're targeting with a bigger budget. Also, when spending, an issue, more spend can be done on the creative. Instead of using your usual budget of maybe $5,000, maybe $10,000, somebody might scale it up to $50,000 to come up with an amazing ad, which could be a video or a post that does not relate or resonate with your market, ending up failing. The last mistake guys do is underselling their products or services by trying to be the cheapest offer in the market. Since they are hoping to reach as many people as possible, they say, let us reduce our margins. Rather than selling at 100%, let's sell our product at 60 to 70. This might work for some point, but at the end of the day, you might end up you're not profitable, or the margins you're getting are not worth the effort of getting the extra people. Here are 3 strategies that help you scale your Facebook meta. Here are 3 strategies that help you scale your meta ads. There is working on your creatives. Number 2, working on your budget. Number 3, figuring out your bottlenecks. So let's start with number 1, your creatives. We are in the Andromeda update on meta ads, where Facebook relies mostly on your creative to see how best to serve your audience. So let's focus on tinkering on the settings and on the audiences by leave it on broad targeting. When you're broad targeting, things you would look at is the right creatives, the right angles, and the right messaging for your audience. When Facebook looks at your ads, it'll see what you're trying to say and look for people who are more likely to buy for you. For example, if you have creatives that have older people or boomers in your pictures or in your videos, Facebook realizes and will know that you're trying to target the older generation. If you have ads that feature teens and on the younger generation, Facebook will know and steer the ads to people who are younger in their journey and send them your ads. Other ways to make your ads stand out is by having exaggerated claim. Like, for example, instead of saying how to scale your ads on Facebook, you'd have a post by saying how to scale your ads by 100% or to 100,000 in a single day. This bold claim stops people in their tracks. Anybody who is interested in scaling the ads would want to learn more or find out more about how you're doing it and what you're doing. Another thing to do about your ads to make it more active or to get more engagement is by offering a new hook or a new way of doing things. Then lastly is focusing on your buyer persona in your creative so that people know exactly who this ad is for and how it will benefit them. The discussion about scaling through budget is done by increasing your budget by 20% every 4 or 5 days. Why is this done? This is done because it gives Facebook time to readjust and relearn to target your best audience. If you do it too soon, too quickly, it might backfire because Facebook will be confused and will get for you the wrong audience at the wrong time, leading to higher costs, higher cost per conversion, and lower conversions. So 20% after 4 or 5 days, then increase again 20% for after another 4 or 5 days, then lastly another 20%, depending on what you have in your budget. You can use automated rules, like let's say the 5% rule. This would happen if your target per acquisition has been reached for the day. If Facebook on that specific or particular day helps you get your target of, let's say, $25 per sale, of less than $25 per sale, you can tell Facebook to increase your budget by 5% to get more people to buy your product for that certain day. And the opposite is true. When you realize that you're not getting conversions at $25 per day, per conversion, you're getting it at 30 or 35, you can tell Facebook to reduce the ad spend so that you're not wasting money on that day, or you're not having a too high cost per conversion, leading to a lower return on ad spend. When you're talking about bottlenecks that's keeping you from scaling, we're talking about your cost per click, we're talking about your cost per conversion, we're talking about your cost per click, your conversion rate, and your average order value. So how do you tackle all this? Let's talk about cost per click. Over time, you might realize your cost per click is going higher without giving you the results you're looking for. So how do you address this? One way of addressing this is by changing your creatives, make it better, make it easier to communicate your message. Number 3 is relooking at your marketing fundamentals. Is like, are you targeting the right people? Is it the right time to target? One solution to this, a few solutions to lowering your cost per click is by changing your creative, make it more attractive to get more sales, or using A/B testing to see what is working and what can work better. Number 2 is relooking at your marketing fundamentals, like who are you targeting and at what stage are they in the buying cycle, and is their message communicated? Are they top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or bottom of the funnel? Discussing the conversion rate bottleneck, you'll have to see where your conversions are occurring. Are they happening in Facebook, or are they happening on your website? The good thing with Facebook conversions, they're easy to manipulate and easy to fix and to get better results because there are fewer variables. But on the other hand, if the conversions are happening on your website, there are things that you have to look at to improve conversions. For example, loading time. How long does it take to load your landing page? It should be 2 seconds or less. Number 2, is your offer clear on the website? And number 3, do you have long forms or do you have short forms? And lastly, is your landing page the best one for your business? How do you increase your average order value for scaling your Meta ads? This is a conversation that steps away from Facebook and Meta and relooks your business. When somebody buys from you, how do you upsell them or cross-sell to increase their basket size? So either ways of doing this is by, you could bundle offers, you could give samples, and number 3, you can show them other items that goes really well with what you're buying. Amazon does this very well. When you're trying to buy something, they say this item goes better with this other item, increasing your average order value. Here are a few tools to look at when monitoring your ads when you're scaling up. We're going to start with the bottlenecks checks. Check your click-through rate, check your cost per conversion, check your conversion rate, and check your average order value. If any of these are misbehaving, act quickly to address their problem to get better value. Another tool to look at to ensure that you're spending well is by monitoring your frequency. The ideal frequency is either 1.4 to 1.5 in a 7-day period. If you find that your frequency is higher at 3 or 4, that means one person or a few people are seeing the ads way too many times, which will lead to ad fatigue, and which also leads to lower conversions. So the sweet spot is between 1.4, 1 to 1.4, or 1 to 1.5. Look at your campaign structure. That will affect how your ads perform. Look at your ad sets, look at your ads, see what can be done to improve. Look at your landing page, which is outside Facebook. That could affect how many conversions you're getting. Look for conversion optimizers, people who know or who can help you improve your conversion rate by working on your website or your landing page. Like and subscribe to this video.